Imagine, you buy a surveillance camera with cloud function, so that the recordings are always conveniently available via the cloud on your cell phone and other devices. For example, you are a concerned parent and set it up in the children's room, living room, or other sensitive places. You have no worries because the manufacturer is relatively well known and promises that everything is safe. But all this is not true at all, and instead of protecting your child, you have exposed him to a big risk in the first place: pedophilia. Systematically, the recordings or even accesses to the cameras are captured and illegally resold. This is no longer just a hypothetical warning, as it could happen. The most recent case occurred in mid-2023 and was discovered and made public in the first place by an investigative research by Hikvision. They came across a professional network that used Hikvision's HitConnect app. This is supposed to allow buyers of the cameras to access their surveillance cameras in real time via the manufacturer's cloud. However, true to the motto "digitalization first, concerns second," the manufacturer apparently protected its public cloud completely inadequately. Therefore, unauthorized people were able to access the surveillance cameras of other customers. The buyers of the cameras used them quite unsuspectingly in various sensitive areas. Children's rooms, family rooms, bedrooms, even changing rooms, strip clubs, and doctors' offices are affected. These are just examples. There were more cases in which the cameras provided insights into quite sensitive areas. The perpetrators wanted to profit from this huge security gap by looking at what could be seen on the cameras. This was then offered as a deal. For example, a camera where you could watch a child's room, a living room, a changing room, and so on. For a payment of $3 to $6, everyone was shown how to access the hacked cameras. For this, they used Telegram channels, of which there were at least 7 different ones. These each had a range of several hundred up to 7,000 subscribers. Telegram reacted quickly here and closed the channels shortly after they became known. This is commendable, but of course does not solve the root of the problem. This lies in the fact that the manufacturer of the cameras has not properly secured its cloud, and therefore unauthorized people can still access these recordings. The camera manufacturer Hikvision has written a letter to its partners on the occasion of this incident. In it, however, they rather attack the journalist as a messenger and seem to be less interested in solving the security problem he is reporting about. For example, the journalists of IPVM are accused of wanting to profit at the expense of endangered children. They do not provide any evidence for this, and I can't see any. The journalist has informed the manufacturer and also stated that he will contact the FBI before the article is published. Hikvision, on the other hand, says that in view of moral turpitude and legal risk, they will not even try to investigate the allegations. They do not mention that the vulnerability is in their system, and doing nothing will not help the affected customers either. On the website of Hikvision, it looks quite different. There they boast to be part of a vision to increase security. But this vision seems to be far away, not only after the current scandal. Already in 2021, a security researcher discovered a severe vulnerability with a CVSS score of 9.8 out of 10, with which one got full access. That means root rights to the operating system of the security cameras. In addition, this vulnerability could be exploited without logging in. As soon as the advertising interface of the camera was accessible to the attacker, it could be completely hijacked. Ironically, this gives an attacker more rights than the owner of the camera, for whom the manufacturer restricts the possible functionalities. This is quite a total loss. The attacker could not only access and manipulate the recordings at any time, but also the device itself. This means, for example, setting up a botnet or carrying out other illegal activities that can ultimately be blamed on the camera operator. But that's not all. This vulnerability affected over 80 different camera models from the same manufacturer. At least some of them have been vulnerable since 2016, a full year at the time of the discovery. Even a year later, security researchers still found over 80,000 vulnerable cameras from the manufacturer, which shows the scale of the problem. A market research company ranked Hikvision as the #1 company in the video surveillance industry for 7 years in a row. With over 34,000 employees in over 150 countries and a global market share of 22.6%, this is not a small company at all. The Hikvision cases are each of biblical proportions, but they are not the first known abuses of video surveillance. In 2021, a British man was arrested after gaining unauthorized access to the cameras of more than 70 families around the world, including from Brazil, the US, the UK, and Canada. As a result, he had obtained more than 1,000 pictures and 1,000 videos of naked children. They were either sold for money or exchanged for other recordings from the customers. As far as is known, the cameras of a single manufacturer were not specifically targeted in this case. Nevertheless, either the manufacturer of the cameras or the buyers made this abuse possible through serious security deficiencies. In another case, the technician of a large company for security fire protection and other protective measures admitted to having accessed about 200 customer accounts without authorization more than 9,600 times. When installing the cameras, the perpetrator remembered in which house attractive women live and secretly set up a back door for himself while he was working. Thanks to remote access, he then watched them later naked and in bed. Especially the first two cases show that proprietary IoT devices can be a security risk for years, especially if they are tied to the cloud of the manufacturer. For them, there is no reason to invest in security. On the contrary, it costs time and money, but many customers would rather have it fast and cheap. Unfortunately, this often affects uninvolved third parties, sometimes even the weakest in our society. I think it is absolutely not recommendable to rely on such black box systems where you have no insight and no control over what happens there. At least in all areas that are sensitive somewhere, something like this should be taboo. What do you think? Feel free to write in the comments. Bye until next time.